Well, hello everybody. Thought it was time for a little update. This is kind of a collection of little snippets that I've been working on, responding to viewers' comments, and at least one new do-it-yourself improvement. But right now, it's kind of cool. Outside, you can see I don't know if you can see the frost or not, but outside it's about minus 15 Celsius or about 0 degrees Fahrenheit. I'm not camped right now. I'm parked, but I expect to be camping shortly. I had to finish up some stuff that I've been working on for a long time. I'm always trying to improve my trailer. And the first thing I can finally say, I think I'm pretty well done with the insulation. I started on it about, I don't know, a couple of months ago. And I think I've got it to the point that it should really make a difference. So I'll talk about that as well. And in the future, you're going to see how well it improves heating the trailer. Other things, I kind of call this, I don't know, odds and sods. I don't know what a sod is. I guess I'm an old sod. I guess that'll work. But I wanted to respond to some comments about older videos or recent videos, especially one about the diesel heater experiment. And I still say it was an experiment. What that means is I wanted to see if it would work for me, and I had some ideas. And I think I was reasonably successful with it, but I really don't think I'm going to use it full time in the winter time. I think I'd want to try some other options as well, but it's kind of going to be on the back burner, so to speak. I will use it occasionally. However, there was certainly a lot of interest in it and a lot of comments, and one of them I really appreciated because it solved one of the problems I had in part 2 of the diesel experiment said that what I thought was the reason that the heater kept shutting down every 6 hours, and I sort of I brought it down to it wasn't the heater, it was the power source. It was the Jackery battery, and I think I was right. However, I think a viewer nailed it because he said the issue could be the Jackery as they don't work well at low wattage, around 5 watts, and begin a timed shutdown, I believe, in about 6 hours. I'm not sure Jackery fixed the issue with the recent upgrade, but it could be the shutdown culprit. Thank you for that comment. I think you're right, and I think at least 2 or 3 other people made the same deduction that it just doesn't work at low wattage. Now, I do have some solutions for that, and I actually did contact Jackery to see if new models will do that. I don't know if I'm going to get a response, but we'll see. Other things, however, in regards to the comments, I did get a lot of comments, and I don't expect you to read all the comments, but if you can at least read the comments I responded to, I'd appreciate it, because there were 2. One was diesel gels when it's cold, and the second one was if you wrap the pump in foam, it'll reduce the noise. So you know what? I thought about that, and let me experiment. Let me show you what the results were.
An assumption by many of my viewers is that diesel gels up in cold temperatures. Well, that all depends on the diesel. After leaving the tank out in frigid cold all night, I started up the heater at minus 15 Celsius. As you can see, the diesel did not gel. This is because in cold climates like Canada, gas stations automatically switch to winter diesel, which is a blend of diesel and kerosene. So there were no starting or gelling issues whatsoever. As for the ticking noise, it's definitely the pump that's the culprit. Some assumed it was mounted directly on the metal chassis, but as you can see here, it's actually encased in a rubber noise-reducing mount. Here's what the fuel pump sounds like while inside the case. I extended the hoses so it could fit outside the chassis. Next, here's the pump outside wrapped in memory foam. And one more try with closed cell foam.
Well, as you can see, and more importantly here, wrapping the pump in insulation, especially foam, didn't really help much, and it really made the whole thing awkward. You know, having it dangling outside because there was no room inside, and it just simply wasn't effective. I think the only real solution to this is to spend a little bit more money and buy a silent pump. I'm not going to do that because it's an experiment, but it's something one of my viewers might consider. Anyway, let's move to insulation, because that's a topic I've had for some time.
In past videos, I've shown that most of my fiberglass trailer has a thin layer of foam and marine fabric on the walls. However, the floor was bare until I added carpet, which helped immensely. In corner storage areas, I added foil-back fiberglass and carpet. I also made covers for the windows. For the front window, I added foam to the window cover edges. So the next thing to improve on was inside the galley. Anywhere you can see the orange fiberglass, it was not insulated. My solution was to attach foam directly to the fiberglass using hot glue sticks. I also added foil and fiberglass to the wheel wells and foam matting to the floor. And here's my battery compartment, now fully insulated as well.
And the good news about the final part of my insulation is that it really didn't cost me much. I did buy initially some fiberglass insulation with foil, and I did use that around the wheel wells and around the corners. However, the rest of it was stuff that I already had. For example, the floor, I used a dollar store fatigue mat. Very thin material, but it does give insulation. And the best part is the white foam on the sides was simply packing foam that I had kicking around from like Amazon purchases and things I bought. So it was free, and I get to recycle junk instead of turfing it off and putting it in the landfill. Win-win. One idea I had in the past, which I thought was a really good addition to a trailer, were these spice grippers. They're little plastic clips that you fit on your spices, and with self-adhesive strips, you put it on the wall like that. The problem is the self-adhesive strips that they came with didn't last, and it fell off. So I tried another way of putting them on the wall. But instead of using regular two-sided tape, I used this 3M Extreme mounting tape. Figured, well, hey, it's extreme, it's good for almost any temperature, any condition. However, it didn't work, it failed. This fell off. Now, I'm not giving up on it yet. I'm just scoring the bottom part where it makes contact with the wall. It stayed on the wall, just didn't stay on the gripper. So I'm just scoring it, making it a little rough. Give it a second try. I don't give up that easy.
But regardless if the plastic was scored or not, the 3M tape just didn't hold.
It seems the issue was this plastic. It's just so slippery, even if you try to abrade it, no adhesive sticks to it for that long. So I had to figure out another way, and I didn't want to use screws or bolts. I don't want to be putting permanent holes here because I might want to move things later on. So I've come up with a new idea which hopefully will work. What I've done is I've put holes all along the inside, and they're lined up with the grooves that are already in place. Here's my theory, and here's how I'm going to do this. I'm going to put little dabs of silicone in those holes so they kind of stick out like silicone rivets, so to speak. Then I can put a bead of silicone all along and then put it up. And I think the combination of the silicone adhering to the back as well as the front should keep it up there.
Just squeezing the silicone through the holes extruded adhesive to the other side. Using spice containers as guides, I placed the glued rack onto the wall and taped it into place until dry.
Well, the spice rack, it seems rock solid now. I don't think it's going to fall off again, but time will tell. And you may notice there's another little addition right here, which is the next part of this video. Well, I'm sure most of you know that when I'm camping, I spend a lot of time off the grid. So I'm completely relying on the energy I can produce and store. With me, I use solar panels most of the time, and I use either 1 or 2 12-volt batteries. Now for solar, I can monitor its use pretty easy with this solar monitor here. It shows me the amount of energy, the amount of electricity I am generating from my solar panels, and it also tells me the voltage of the battery. But what it doesn't tell me, and it's something that's really important, is how much current I am using, especially at night when I know I'm not generating solar. So I need to know, if I've got everything all plugged in, how much I'm draining the battery. That way I can gauge and I can adjust if I've had a few days where I haven't generated a lot of electrical energy from the sun. It tells me if I'm using too much. So in order to figure that out, I bought this little device, and it's made by, I don't know if you can read that or not, Peace Fair. And what it is a 4-in-1 battery monitor or meter. And this should show me the amount of amps and the amount of watt hours that I have available in my battery. But to make this work, I also need a shunt. And this goes right on the battery terminal, on the negative battery terminal, and this is what actually reads the amount of current you're using. Pretty simple concept. The first challenge is trying to figure out, well, where do I want to put it? I've got a lot of stuff already in this area here, so it's not going to go there. And I want to keep it near the area I'm always at. Like this is my sleeping area, so yeah, I'd like to know in the middle of the night if I have any issues. So I think right there would be a good choice. The galley comes out a little. It's the right thickness. I think that would work. So the only thing left to do is install it.
I applied painter's tape to the area around the hole, then marked its size using the meter as a guide. After a little touch-up to the template, it was time to start the cutting wheel of the Dremel. After a little filing, it fit perfectly in place. The shunt was hooked up to the negative post of the battery, with all other outlets and appliances now hooked up to its opposite end. After connecting the wires from the shunt and power source, I slid the meter into the hole and snapped it into place. With nothing powered up, no amps or watts were used. Turning on a couple of lights brought it up to 6.3 watts, or about half an amp. But once I turned the fridge on, the power usage really added up. I'm thinking a more efficient fridge may be in order.
Well, I hope you enjoyed this. I know it was kind of subtle. I want to get camping again, but in the meantime, hopefully I've answered some questions and given you a few ideas. Oh, and by the way, the reason I'm wearing this toque is, well, yeah, it is kind of cold in here. However, it's also because I got a bad haircut. Because I haven't been able to get a haircut for the last 2 months because of the shutdown, you know what I mean? I took a chance and let a hairdresser do whatever she wanted, and this is what she kind of came up with. To me, it looks like I got into a car accident or I had a lobotomy, which is probably a good idea. But I'm not crazy about it. I think I'm going to let it grow out. But thank God they invented toques. I hope you enjoyed this video, and check out my others as well.
For more details on the meter and other items, please check the description of this video. Happy camping!